Jesus wants to speak, so I'm going to speak with Jesus. Come, divine will, come speak in my speaking. And we infuse this teaching into your divine will, Lord Jesus, that we may hear and listen what you wish to teach us. So, after this, the confessor was reading in the chapel the first excess of the love of Jesus in the incarnation. So don't forget the chapel, right? The chapel. Now, if you've looked at my video on Corato, I do a video of the current chapel in the House of the Divine Will, the institute where we stayed, and where the sanctuary is, that was Louisa's bedroom, and where the main body of the church is, that was the chapel area. So the confessor was in that area while Louisa was in bed. Okay. So, my sweet Jesus from within my interior pricked up his ears to listen, and drawing me to himself, he said to me, "My daughter, how happy I feel in listening to them. But my happiness increases in keeping you in this house of my will, as both of us are listeners. I of what I have told you, and you of what you have heard from me." Now, this is us as well. Remember, Jesus is listening with your listening. So he's listening to you learning. That's important. He's listening to you learning. That is pedagogy. Okay. The teacher makes sure that the students has got the lesson. So he has to be listening to the student as the student is listening to him to make sure the lesson has been understood. Think about it, right? A teacher in a classroom teaches a lesson, asks the kids a question to test that they've got the lesson, and then listens to the students to make sure that she knows that they have got the lesson. Excuse me a moment. My darling, would you please pop that back on? Thank you, darling. My life just switched off the main crucial light. Right. So, the teacher has to listen to the students to make sure the students get the lesson. Okay. I have what I've told you, and you have what you've heard from me. My love swells, boils, and overflows. Listen, listen, repeats it twice. Now remember in the Gospels, in John's Gospel, he often repeats himself. Truly, truly. Yeah. How beautiful it is. The word contains the breath, and as it is spoken, the word carries the breath, which like air goes around from mouth to mouth, and communicates the strength of my creative word. And the new creation, which my word contains, descends into the hearts. Think Ezekiel chapter 3. You might even want to visit. It's the end of Ezekiel 2, beginning of Ezekiel 3, where God says to Ezekiel, receive in your heart and hear with your ears. Okay, receive into your heart. Divine revelation, into the heart first. The new creation which my word contains descends into the hearts. Listen, my daughters, a third time. It keeps on saying, listen, listen in this one. In redemption, I had the cortege of my apostles, and I was in their midst, all love, in order to instruct them. I spared no toil in order to form the foundation of my church. Now in this house, the house of the divine will, where I did some videos from not so long ago, I feel the cortege of the first children of my will, plural, children of my will, and I feel my loving scenes being repeated in seeing you in their midst. All love, wanting to impart the lessons about my divine fiat in order to form the foundations of the kingdom of my divine will. If you knew how happy I feel in seeing you speak about my divine volition, take that to heart, everyone. Every time you speak about the divine volition, you're making Jesus happy. He is happy. Okay? I anxiously await the moment when you begin to speak in order to listen to you and to feel the happiness that my divine will brings me. I read this just before I started the video, and I got quite choked up because I thought, oh my gosh, so my speaking this is bringing Jesus happiness. You speaking it is bringing him happiness. And very, very soon, this is going to be the most important message that we can bring to people with salvation. Gospel of salvation, the gospel of the divine will. So be prepared for that moment, folks. It's going to happen. It's going to happen very soon. Maybe after we have got in place these 9 excesses of love. Maybe in the new year, 2024. It might well be that the Lord's going to open the floodgates up and suddenly we're going to find ourselves proclaiming this message all over the world. Prepare yourselves, pioneers. Prepare yourselves. Fiat voluntas.